I regret to inform everybody, we lost to the Cyclones.
Well, here we are again. PHNX Sun Devils show. Time for a walk of shame, Eric. Because
Why?
the Arizona State Sun Devils, well, they lost to the Iowa State Cyclones.
Wait, that wasn't the Kansas game again?
I mean, I was getting there. 15 points. 76-61. Devils crumble. They choke. They do it all. Guys, do us a solid. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Of course, we are here coming to you live from Studio K, presented by Circle K. Join Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. I am Anthony Totri. This is Erik Ruby. We have Captain Redbeard behind the Mac making all of the magic happen. Guys, we got a lot to get into. I feel like this needs to be a group therapy session after
Definitely.
what that was. The last 6 minutes.
It's hard when you get so hopeful, right? And then
This close.
you just start to kind of see it. You're like, oh no. There are signs, there are turnovers, there are fouls. The worst part is they got in their own way fully. They totally could have won this game. I mean, you saw it in the first half, right? But once everything started going downhill, the fouls and the turnovers just sunk them. And against the number 3 team in the country that is the best at getting to the line, just scored 100 points against UCF, 100 plus points, and they're extremely disciplined. Like, you can't make those types of mistakes. And that is very unfortunate because they did play good enough in the first half to think to yourself, all right, you can win this game.
Yeah. Up 7, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Up 7, 40-33. You go out, go to halftime with that incredible sequence, right? The inbound, Mason for 3, and then Sean Phillips with the Curtis Jones block, right? That's how you go into halftime with so much momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, it felt like they could win this game. And there was a stretch where it felt like there were a couple calls that maybe didn't go their way, right? You get the Quaintance fouling out. You get the Sanon technical.
Well, dude, yeah. Okay. Maybe we shouldn't just focus on that technical first because that wasn't the reason why they lost, but he didn't touch him.
Dude,
He literally
not
he did
even
not touch
close. Not even close.
Like, and if they made contact, it was because the other guy threw his body into. I mean, it was scary, right? Like, you hope the guy is okay, and
yeah,
you don't like to see that happen. But that was absolutely, unequivocally a terrible call.
they upgraded
in a big
it.
spot, right? They reviewed it, and then they zoomed in on their face and like, hey,
Literally like this. Like, if you're listening on audio, go right now to the live. Literally like this, dude. Didn't touch him. They upgrade that. The guy on the call, the play-by-play,
right?
the commentary guy.
He was like banned Joson Sanon from playing basketball
was-
for the rest
it
of his
was-
life.
It was, something inexcusable, right? And I know at that point it felt like the game was already kind of out of reach, but still, like a number of calls, like you said, some turnovers there late, like Iowa State in that last 6 minutes, and it felt like this. Every second of it felt like the 19-3 run that they went on over the last 5 minutes of this game, where it was, okay, we have hope. You could start to see some of these guys that, played a big part in that West Virginia win showing up, right?
Yeah.
Getting those moments. Adam Miller, Bashir Jihad, even Joson Sanon when he was back out there. And then it just fell apart so quick.
Yeah, it just got suffocated. William in the chat says the under 25-point half hit in the second half. Yeah, 40 first half points for ASU, 21 in the second half. It's the opposite of what they did against Baylor. We've talked about this team over the week on our live shows that we do, and they cannot play 40 minutes of consistent basketball.
Yeah.
They can barely play a half of consistent basketball, but they do hit these highs. You do have to give credit to Curtis Jones, who is an absolute dog. He played 40 minutes, had 33 points, 10 of 22 from the field, 5 of 10 from 3, 8 of 10 from the line, added 7 rebounds, didn't record a single personal foul in 40 minutes. Now, part of the personal foul part is because these refs were awful, but Curtis Jones was a bona fide superstar out there for them tonight. Extremely dynamic guard. ASU had a very tough time guarding him, but it wasn't just the fact that he went nuclear, right? Because he was still going crazy in the first half. Like, he had a good all-around game. But the difference in the second half was Arizona State's offense just did not keep up, right? If you want to take a look at the second half, like box score, you had 2 points from Alston Mason in the second half. You had 0 points from Jayden Quaintance in the second half. You had 2 points from BJ Freeman in the second half. Your leading scorer in the second half was Bashir Jihad at 7 and Adam Miller at 5. Sanon had 3. Amir Ali didn't even play a minute in the second half. Sean Phillips Jr. had 2 points. Like, your entire offense stalled out. Alston Mason played 20 minutes and scored 2 points. And that's part of the fact that you can't have this small of a rotation.
Yeah.
Right? It's not sustainable, especially against teams like Iowa State. And as much as we want to get upset about inconsistencies in the second half, and I think rightfully so, because every team has to play, with the roster they have, and everybody can deal with injuries, and you only can do what you can do, right? Yeah. And we can judge you for how you play. And you can acknowledge that it's really, really bad how small their rotation is and how exhausting that has to be in the Big 12.
Yeah.
But 2 points and a half, 1 of 5 field goals from Alston Mason isn't okay.
No.
And he came out really weird, like 3 turnovers in the second half. He was super rushed after hitting that huge 3 to end the first half. I don't know what happens at halftime. I don't know if it's a fatigue thing. I don't know if it's a coaching thing, but this team cannot put together 40 minutes of relatively consistent basketball.
No, they can't. And they can't do it against these types of teams, right? Teams like an Iowa State that have a Curtis Jones, like a Keyshawn Hall at UCF, right? A guy that can literally just shoulder it for an entire 40 minutes if he has to. Right? Like you said, in 40 minutes, 33 points. He took 22 shots, did not the other way have a single personal foul. That's absolutely ridiculous. And for a team like Arizona State that does commit some lazy fouls sometimes, right? Or questionable fouls, whichever way you want to call it. Mm-hmm. Like, again, Quaintance, your star over the last 3-4 games, only played 17 minutes. You thought this was going to be the game where you got both your guys, right? Yeah. You got to see the Jayden Quaintance with the offensive bag that we've seen over the last 3-4 games, and you were going to get Joson Sanon pre-ankle injury, who was going for 20 a night off the bench, right? Mm-hmm. And you didn't get that. And you got it partially because he picked up early fouls in this game. Bobby let him go, and he ended up picking up a 4th foul. Mm-hmm. So he had to sit. Sean Phillips played decent in his absence.
Yeah. Well, to your point with Quaintance on scoring, you want to know what happened? The first half you did. Quaintance only played 10 minutes. He scored 9 points. Yeah. But those are the only 9 points for the game.
Didn't miss.
Right? So and when were you leading Iowa State? Right? When Quaintance was in there and scoring, he was 3 for 3 from the field, 1 of 1 from 3. Joson Sanon had 5 points in that half in 15 minutes. Like, when you can have those guys contributing, imagine if Quaintance was able to play more than 10 minutes in the first half. Yeah. Or if going into the second half, he was able to play more than 7 minutes, he didn't even attempt a field goal, right? So you're exactly right. You didn't get that combination that you were betting on, but you got to see it for a little bit, and that was when you were winning.
Yeah. Yeah. You saw it for a little bit, like you said, and that's, they were shooting 50% from like 3 and 56% from the floor. Like, they were unbelievable in that first half when you had them, and then it fizzled out because you didn't have those bench guys, right? And again, like, that's the game as a whole. This team in this entire game felt really similar to that Kansas game, like we mentioned off the top, right? You just saw such a strong first half.
Yeah.
And then you end up losing it. What was the final? What was the final of the Kansas game?
Oh, it was worse than this.
Was it?
Yeah.
It feels just eerily similar to the strong first half that you had offensively to just crumbling in that second half to a really good
Kansas, 74-55, almost 20 points. So 19.
And this was 15.
This was 15.
It's the same game. I watched the same game with a different star on the other side in Curtis Jones.
Yeah, that's fair. I do think a little bit more in this game than in the Kansas game. Arizona State did get in their own way. It happened both. But this game, when they just came out of the half, it was foul, turnover, bucket, foul, turnover, like in succession. And as soon as that happened, you sat back and you're like, I don't know if this team has the punches to withstand this.
No.
And then you can't play Jayden Quaintance, and you eventually can't play Joson Sanon, right? And you don't have guard depth. Like, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's a really tough hand to be dealt, but there were some bad fouls. There were some bad calls, but you can't sustain basketball like this over the Big 12. And Coach Shark Holmes says, coaching will always hold us back. It's hard to watch no plan offensively rather than a timeout. I will say this. This is my comment on the whole coaching thing. When they ran that sideline out of bounds play that got a wide open dunk outside of the commercial break, it might be the loudest I screamed all game.
Yeah.
I don't know how often I see things like that. And we spent a lot of time talking about why doesn't this team use the pick and roll more?
Gosh.
And then
we
right
were arguing about
we
it.
weren't arguing.
We're on the same side.
We were arguing against the TV.
Yeah.
And as soon as we said that, they did a pick and roll with Jayden Quaintance. He got the mismatch, drove downhill with a head of steam, and he got the layup. Right? And then how many times have we seen 3 players not moving? How many times have we seen no pick and roll, just trying to throw the ball into a guarded post up or to drive and try to swing the ball across the court into where there are 2 Iowa State defenders because you don't know where everybody else is on the court? You can blame the players for that, but if it's all the time, every game, there's a game plan problem too. And I can't tell you what that game plan is. I didn't see it against Idaho State, and I haven't really seen it in any game since. I just think that individual talent has risen to the occasion. And in the second half, that talent got stifled.
Yeah, I agree. I think, again, like, there's a lot of people in here after every post game that share that same frustration, that it feels like offensively they don't have what it takes. And you saw it in the second half. You saw it when it mattered most. And this team needed a spark, right? They needed to be able to compete with a dude on the other side that was just running you silly. And they couldn't. They could not do it. Again, 19-3 run over the last 5 minutes of a close game at home against the number 3 team in the country.
0 points in the last 3 minutes.
The better team won.
That's
what happened.
Duh. Yeah.
Like, it's frustrating because you saw the potential, though.
Sure.
Right.
I think, what do we say with this team all the time, right? You walk into any game against any opponent and anything could happen.
Yeah.
And you've seen against Kansas, you've seen against Iowa State that you can be up, not just for like the first 5 minutes, in the first half, right? And then get punched in the second. Or you've seen against Baylor that you get punched in the first, but you hang in the second and you eventually, fall away. Or the rare now one half of your Big 12 wins still, West Virginia, where you were actually able to play consistent defensively the whole game, but your offense still sputtered out. It's just unfortunate because we talked a lot about the talent that we felt like this roster had. And I still think, I look at all the pieces they have on the court and I see a lot of really good players. Cactus Johnny says Mason and Freeman just not good enough to be playing 40 plus minutes a game every night in the Big 12.
That's fair.
Yeah, but like,
That's fair.
It's hard. Most players aren't. You genuinely should not have to be playing 40 minutes a night. And I know Curtis Jones did.
But
today.
Exactly. There are those guys.
Okay, but Curtis Jones is one of the best players in the country.
But that's what we're
on the
saying.
number 3 team in the nation.
But that's what we're saying, though, I feel like. And that's what Cactus Johnny is maybe saying, is that you could point to each one of these Big 12 teams. You could even point to teams like in Arizona that I think are on maybe that threshold, right? A Houston, a Kansas, even a West Virginia at times, a UCF at times. You can look to each one of their rosters. You could tune in to a game any given night, and they have a guy. Right, they have a guy that's going to give you a ridiculous effort for 40 minutes, and that can carry a team past a team that maybe doesn't have him, right? Or they haven't shown themselves yet. I think Arizona State has potential, right? He said BJ Freeman and Austin Mason. I agree with it, right? I don't think either one of those guys are your solidified superstar on this team.
Agreed.
And that's what this conference is. It's made up of superstars. There's a reason why this is the best basketball conference in the country, right? Is because that's just the way the rosters work. Yeah,
there's a lot of really, really good individual talent. There's a lot of meat left on the bone about this game, and it's unfortunate the Sun Devils are now 2-6 in Big 12 play. But we got so much more to break down. Bottle service by the numbers, closing time, probably more screaming, ranting, crying, throwing up. Whatever might hold. We'll all come after this break. Had one of the best lunches I've had, not just this year, but the past couple of years. The other day when we got Spinatos brought into the office because I was so hungry and I forgot. I forgot that we were getting Spinatos. I brought my lunch, and I was never happier in my life to be like, you know what? I don't need to eat the lunch that I brought today because we got Spinatos in the office. Absolutely delicious pizza. I had a little bit of everything, right? Maybe I had a little bit more than I should have.
You have a favorite kind?
It really depends on the day. Like I like it when you didn't order the pizza and you open up the pizza box.
It's a surprise.
And it's a surprise. Yeah. And with Spinatos, every single surprise is worth it. Plus, Spinatos Pizzeria is the place to be for Suns fans. Take it from me. They host official watch parties throughout the season where you can watch the game with Phoenix Suns dancers and, of course, the Gorilla. Plus, you can also win free tickets. So get all the info for the watch parties and, of course, the pizza basketball contest, which is like horse but spelled as pizza, at SpinatosPizzeria.com. Spinatos, the official pizza of the Phoenix Suns.
Gosh, look, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna say something. Okay, I feel like we're the most handsome podcast that we got here
in
at
the country.
PHNX. Well, specifically at PHNX. Maybe the country.
In the country.
And the reason why is because 2/3 of us at any given time are wearing a branded Bills hat.
Sometimes 3/3.
Sometimes 3/3. And when it is, it's just magic. And it's because of branded Bills. Guys, they have truckers, fitteds, beanies, tees, snapbacks. They have it all. They've got you covered with performance and style. If you need hats to go to the gym, to go to work, to hang out with your friends, they have got something for you. They've also got partnerships with Arizona State. And then, of course, they do charity work with the Wildcats in Tucson. Make sure you head to brandedbills.com and use code PHNX for 20% off your first order.
Whew. Before we continue to go doom and gloom, I think we have to have a Bobby convo. I think we got to still go down this roster. Let's talk about maybe a few of the good things, and we can get into more later. The Arizona State football team, was there.
Always a good,
and they had the trophy. We have a really fun video for that we'll share later in the show. But Kenny was there.
Our sweet Prince.
Greg Powers was there.
Our sweet Prince Kenny.
Huge shout out to Arizona State hockey, who has just been absolutely killing it. Beat number 19 Colorado College, 4-1 win. Beat number 15 St. Cloud, 2 wins in a row before that. I mean, this is a team in Arizona State hockey if you're not paying attention. Very fun. But back to ASU basketball, it was nice to see good amount of fan support. A lot of Iowa State fans there. They travel well, especially the number 3 basketball team in the country. But then you had all the football team there, Jordan Tyson, Sam Levitt, like Justin Watley, Jacob Kingaika. I think there was Raleek behind the curtain of distraction as well. It's very nice to see that this community is still supporting each other, and the ASU football team is going out to events. Remember, they were at the baseball.
With the trophy.
Yeah, with the trophy, which is such a flex against Iowa State, too. But, the Arizona State football last year, going out to the baseball tournament, right? Hockey always supporting, Kenny dropping the puck at a hockey game. It is really nice to see that the community is still banding together, but I really wish that for this basketball team, they were able to capitalize on this moment, because this would have been your
Yeah.
signature Big 12 win. This would have been a tournament maker Big 12 win. And you fumbled it, and you fumbled it for multiple different reasons. I do want to continue to unpack the Bobby stuff, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, we can go into the Bobby stuff.
Because I find myself watching all of these games, and the main thing that I'm looking for now is, how are individual players like growing? How are they playing, and what are they doing differently? And all of the improvement that I feel like I've really seen from this roster has come from, like, okay, Jayden Quaintance, right, is getting more comfortable playing college basketball. Clearly the highest upside guy on the team. That just feels like that's going to be a natural progression, right? It doesn't feel like he's been coached into it. Like Joson Sanon, he's an elite scorer and a great shooter. I don't feel like he's utilized. Like, he's either standing in the corner or he's dribbling against an ISO and taking a contested shot. Some of those
shots are bad.
They are, and it's fine because he hits some of them, but like, he's not running off of screens. Like, getting plays called for him a lot of the times, right? Like, he's not getting pick and roll. Like, he's not actively moving on the court, and that's something he's been doing for a really long time, and you would like for that to improve for this team. And so, like, you look at individual players, like, I don't see where the system has gone out and benefited any of these players, and that's really disappointing.
Yeah, and I think it's not just this year, right, that you can have that conversation. I think there are past years where you can look at some of the talent and you can be like, man, it feels like it's all there, right? You see it any given night that some of these guys can go off, they can take over a game. But maybe when it gets down to some of these moments, they just aren't maybe coached well enough to go out there and to get it done, right? They don't know what to do, right? Like you said, they haven't necessarily been developed to that point where they can get there, and to where there is a coach and a staff behind them that's actually putting in offensive game plans, making sure that these things kind of go. I mean, I saw it in the chat, right? People crediting Bobby 100%, saying he is a phenomenal recruiter. I think
without a doubt.
I think phenomenal
without
recruiter.
a doubt.
But as it's going right now, it feels like there's a little bit of a disconnect from the coaching part of it.
I agree, and I wish there wasn't. I think Bobby Hurley unequivocally knows more about basketball than 99% of the people walking this planet. But and he obviously is a legend of the game. And he's a great recruiter, and all the players love him, and they play hard for him. He's a good guy. Like,
great guy.
I don't want to. I'm not going to come out here and just be like, I hate Bobby Hurley, right? No. But if I'm watching this basketball team, and I've watched this team for a very long time, and in depth and personal, like I covered this team throughout college, right? Like I was sitting on the baseline, shooting videos for when Anthony Edwards came and played Arizona State, and Carmelo Anthony was in the crowd, right? Or the upset loss to, I think it was not Texas State. Who was it? It was like the Prairie something. You know what I'm talking about?
I remember.
Like, it was the first or second game of the season. Like, I've seen this team through multiple iterations, rosters, talent levels, success levels, like play styles, right? And I always walk away thinking like, I don't see a system. Mm-hmm. I don't see something that's like, that's Bobby Hurley basketball, right? Bobby Hurley basketball is, we're going to make this game ugly. We're going to defend, but
which works sometimes.
It does, and that's why you can upset the really big teams, but I don't see development with a lot of players, right?
I hear you.
And it sucks because I wish that, like, sometimes very talented basketball players don't make the best coaches because everything is like instinctual to them, and so they assume everything else will be instinctual to the players, right? And I don't know if that's how Bobby is, but there just isn't a translation to one of the best point guard minds and point guards college basketball's ever seen to why don't they have anybody moving on offense? Why aren't they just using the pick and roll?
Why is everybody standing at the 3-point line? Why is everybody doing it? Why is nobody cutting, right? Why are we not in sync? That is what, for me, I feel like is so obvious at certain points, is that each one of these guys is so talented, right? Is so talented to the point where they can have their moments throughout a game. And you saw it, right? I think going into halftime, that sequence, like I was saying earlier, the Alston Mason 3 to Sean Phillips defensively on the other end, a beautiful sequence. And then you can have other moments where the team doesn't look like they have practiced together. You get a moment where I think it was Bashir and Joson go for the same rebound,
and it goes
the other way.
Literally the start of the second half, right? Like what you just mentioned was the end of the first half, where you're like, oh my gosh, look at this individual talent. 40-foot Austin Mason
coming
three.
Together.
Sean Phillips block, right? Like this team could do something. Come out, start of the second half. Austin Mason turns the ball over, I think, twice right away. Bricks a shot, fouls on the other end. Like, what?
So
that's
flat.
how I look playing basketball with a group of guys that I just met playing pickup. Like, that's not what a team this far into the season should be doing, coming out of a break where you're supposed to be game planning. And like, if anything,
in the best
first
conference.
If anything, the first couple of possessions of the second half should be your best couple of possessions of the second half. It's disappointing.
It is.
And
it is.
Somebody said like you would have to have a trade-off if Bobby's no longer your head coach. You would have to lose some of the high individual talent, right? But can you get more out of quote unquote lesser talent? You think about Kenny Dillingham, right? We had this whole debate and conversation about football.
I don't think
it's different.
I don't think there's a Kenny Dillingham in the basketball realm for this school.
Well, I'm not saying there's a.
I think Bobby is going to be the best. He's historically, when it's all said and done, I think Bobby Hurley is going to be the most decorated coach to ever go through Arizona State, or at least for the next 2-3 decades, because of Bobby Hurley's what he's done at this level, the fact that he's been here a decade already, right? Yeah. That there have been players and teams that have had moments, right? Everyone's going to remember that 2017 season where they were the last undefeated team in college basketball, number 3 in the country.
Of course.
He recruits high-level talent. Every now and then you're going to get a tournament appearance, and every now and then you're going to win a couple games in the Big 12 tournament. Like, I think that's what this is, though. Like, the peak of there is no Kenny Dillingham for basketball.
No, I know. It's tough because, I don't think you're going to hit that floor. I mean, last season felt like the floor. Last season was just a really bad turn of events for just everything.
Yeah.
But Nan one in the chat says,
we were here doing shows.
Nan one in the chat goes, I don't think I can blame Bob. These players are fully...
Not Bob Hurley.
Which, by the way, stop calling him Bob. I'm sorry, Nan one. I like you, Nan one.
Bob Hurley.
But the announcers calling him Bob, like, stop. These players are never up to par, truly. Players standing around and not giving full effort isn't on coach. Yes and no.
Yeah, it's hard. These guys know how to play basketball.
Right, like, and they should, yeah, sure. They absolutely should not be standing around, and they should be, like, they should be giving more effort. I agree, but as a coach, it's your job to have your players playing hard and prepared and giving effort and making sure there's a standard set and there's an identity.
But that's also on the players.
Right, it's on both, and like it's not just this team.
Yeah.
It hasn't just been this iteration, right? Like to draw a comparison to the Phoenix Suns. This year and last year, they have a different head coach. No, they have a different head coach, right? Mike Budenholzer, Frank Vogel.
Yeah.
And everybody felt like the effort and everything was so bad under Vogel and they were so disconnected, and you change the head coach and everything will be better. Well, guess what?
Looks the same.
It looks the same this season.
Yeah.
If anything, it might look a little bit worse, right?
Which is crazy.
It is crazy. It is crazy in retrospect. But when you take that and you say, okay, well, what's the common denominator? Well, there are some similar players. Is there a similar identity? What's the communication style?
Yes.
Right? Maybe those two coaches do have flaws themselves, and maybe that's really the reason here. There's not really that much carryover in these rosters, right? And this is something that we've been noticing for about a decade now. This has been who Bobby Hurley has been. Get big time names, get 5-star recruits. They come here, some of them play well, some of them underperform. None of them ever really seem to ascend. You have a decent to good team that has really big wins and really bad losses, and plays inconsistently throughout the entire season. Sometimes you end up on the higher end, which is, you're fighting to get into the tournament, right? You're in Dayton for the 15th time.
Which feels like where this team, if they go,
they'll be in Dayton. Right?
Like, I am so tired of Dayton, Ohio. I hope you guys know that. For as long as I have ever witnessed Arizona State basketball, the farthest that this team has ever, quote unquote, ascended to was Dayton, Ohio, in terms of just covering this team, right? In terms of being like, okay, pen to paper, we're talking to these guys, we're talking to the coaches, we're doing stories. It's been Bobby Hurley, Dayton, Ohio, get a timeshare. That's where we're at.
Yeah. And I know
you need to beat like Houston and Arizona to get there.
Yeah. Oh, your path to the tournament is just shrinking. You don't have much room for error now. You need a signature win. This was one of your you maybe have a few more chances at a signature win. Now, Arizona, did they win today?
I think they did. They were on the ropes though.
They won by 8. Wait, that's the UCF game. That's the UCF game. They're playing Colorado right now.
Playing Colorado right there. Yeah.
Yeah, they won.
They won.
15.
They won. So like Arizona is clawing towards getting ranked, right?
They're probably ranked on Monday.
Texas Tech is 14-4, right? So those would be good wins. I don't know if those are like signature wins.
If you beat Tech twice,
okay, you have to beat one of those teams twice for it to be signature wins.
I would say that.
You only have one, which
I think they could do.
I think they can.
I think they could punch Texas Tech. Honestly, you want to hear a hot take here?
Sure.
I think they could sweep Arizona. I genuinely think they could sweep Arizona. I think this is the type of team that you were saying earlier. Come on, play with me here. That you were saying earlier is 100% the type of team that, because of the style of play that they play, for some teams, like an Iowa State, teams in the past, like a UCLA, that are so accustomed to a system, right? That could 100% be the team that stifles a really talented team. Because there are just some of those gritty teams that can get another one's number. I think Arizona is a mentally weak team that 100% Arizona State could punch in the mouth twice and get dubs over.
They totally could. That's what I'll say. They totally could. Would I put my money on it? Not too sure about that.
Probably not. Probably not at that point, which is fair. I would 100% understand that. Look, there is still a ton to get to in this game. And right now, I do want to get to by the numbers presented by Desert Financial Credit Union, Arizona's #1 credit union, named by Forbes. Of course, the only number that matters is that final score. Iowa State getting the dub over ASU 76-61. Adam Miller having himself a night for the Devils, leading scorer, 13 points. Curtis Jones on the other side with 33. Team shot pretty similar, 46% for Iowa State, 45% for Hurley squad. Behind the arc, 42% for the Cyclones, 33% for the Sun Devils. And then the turnovers, the big one here, 18 for ASU, 12 on the other side for Iowa State.
Such a problem. Turnovers are so bad. And that's coaching.
Yeah.
That's coaching, right? All players can be turnover prone. This is college basketball, right? That's kind of how it is. Sometimes people make dumb mistakes. It's not the highest level of basketball. I get it. But that's coaching. Double-digit turnovers at every single game this year. It's not just the fact that like the teams they're facing are just clamping them down. It is throwing the ball to the other team. It is not knowing where your teammates are on offense. So you drive, you get double teamed. You're looking up. You're trying to make a pass. You don't know what to do. You slang that thing. Like it's over and rinse and repeat and rinse and repeat and rinse and repeat. And it's mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. And sure, some of that's on the players. Bashir Jihad, Jayden Quaintance, you got to stop dribbling the ball so much. When you don't, you're usually a bucket. When you do, you are getting double teamed. You're turning the ball over. You're getting jump balls forced. Like Alston Mason has to understand that he is at a certain disadvantage because of his size, which is why as a coaching staff, you also need to recognize that. Call more pick and rolls. Call more ways to even pick and pops, just different types of motion to get players a little bit of space away from him so he can survey the court and make a read.
I don't know why the pick and roll thing, dude. I don't know.
He's a capable passer, right? But he's too small to be running into the paint full speed and try to look around and sling a pass over or around somebody.
And he doesn't have the athleticism of a Frankie Collins last year that could just go straight to the hoop and literally just yam on people.
No, and I like Alston Mason as a player. I think he's a fun player. I think he's in an unfair position because he has to play 40 freaking minutes a night, right? So all of that's on the table.
He would make such a phenomenal backup point guard.
I think he would make a good starting point guard if he didn't have to play 40 minutes and You actually coach to scheme to what his strengths are.
Yeah.
But with a player like him who is smaller, who is a little bit more frail, is having a harder time getting his shot off in the Big 12 than he did at a smaller conference at a lower level, right? You need coaching staffs to help put you in a position to score and to do that.
Yeah.
And they're not doing that. And they're not doing that with Alston Mason. And they're not doing that with Jayden Quaintance. And they're not doing that with Bashir Jihad. And they're not doing that with Joson Sanon. And they're not doing that with BJ Freeman. And they're not doing that with Adam Miller. They're doing it with Sean Phillips. No, I'm kidding. They're not doing it with anybody, right? Nobody is going out there and you're saying something's getting ran for them, right? The focus is on them. They're the focal point. No, it's iso ball. It's bad passes, entry passes into the post. And it's standing around on the court and having half the team do nothing while somebody tries to be a hero.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, you can't win Big 12 basketball games consistently doing that with this roster or any roster.
Yeah, no, you're right. Cactus Johnny in the chat, in retrospect, Austin Nunez injury ended season. Mason isn't it? I mean, again, I think, like you said, I think Mason can be a good point guard in the right system with the right guys, with the right coaching. I think Austin Nunez certainly would have helped that.
Just eat minutes.
Being able to play 10, 12 minutes a game, keep Mason fresh. That would have been a big part to this offense, I think, because we see it, right? That second unit, when Mason isn't out there, or even better yet, when he's just out there and he's winded, they don't have a guy that can really steer the ship outside of Alston Mason. And that's why I think what this team did so well in that first half, right? Is because these guys had a few days off, right? They're back home. Mm-hmm. It was the end of a long road trip. They got that nice win, but man, we needed this time off. And that's why they started hot, right? These guys were fresh. Guys that are used to playing 37, 38, 39, 40 minutes a game, like an Alston Mason, who again played 38 minutes tonight. This is a guy that 6 points, 5 assists in the first half, right? Like,
that's really good.
That's really great for your starting point guard.
And you think about it, right? Alston Mason, smaller, thinner guard, finesse guy, fast, good passer. Surround him with a shooting guard that can light it up, that can catch a bucket, whether it's, Adam Miller, who can catch fire now and then, or Joson Sanon, who's just a pure shooter. Another, 2-3 level scorers, and BJ Freeman, Bashir Jihad. They're not the best, but they can score at 3 different levels, and Bashir Jihad can get to the line. Bashir Jihad's a pick and pop partner, a pick and roll partner, is a post-up
I feel like
partner.
He's so friendly for point guards.
Bashir Jihad's a great, and then you have Jayden Quaintance, super athletic, big guy who's comfortable now rolling to the rim, can set good screens on you. Like, the pieces are there to set up Alston Mason in a good way, right? But when you say, okay, not only are you going to have to play 40 minutes a night, but we're not going to put everybody else in a position to help you. And then vice versa, guess what? That means Alston Mason isn't getting put in a position to help those players, right? Like Jayden Quaintance isn't getting helped by having a pass-first point guard who can dictate the offense through the plays being ran. Or Jayden Quaintance isn't benefiting from having movement shooters and Joson Sanon and Adam Miller running around on the outside. As John says in the chat, motion creates space. Right? So they're not running around creating space. They're not running off of screens. They're not making defenders think. They're standing there like this, waiting for the ball, doing nothing.
Yeah.
Right? And then, okay, Bashir Jihad, you're going to get free reign to dribble as many times as you want.
Which, at this point, go for it.
No, don't go for it.
Go for it, dude.
Don't go for it.
Don't go for it.
No.
Because what else is working offensively in the second half?
No, it's
nothing.
It's not about what other options they've shown. It's about they need to add options to go to.
So what's the next option?
The option is pick and pop, pick and roll, run a screen, like have some off-ball movement off of some screeners.
I think there are some players on this roster at this point in the year where you just straight up need offense. You're not putting in an offensive system now. Like, that's not happening.
Okay, but it's not an offensive system. It's basic basketball.
I know.
There's no implementing a pick and roll. You've been running a pick and roll.
But they're not doing it. They're not doing it.
They're not doing it. Playing for friggin' AAU teams with the green and the pink and the black jerseys that look weird with 100 numbers on it.
We set him off. We broke him. We broke him.
It's basic basketball.
We broke Erik Ruby.
Dude. It is not a hard concept to think to yourself, hey, let's try to use some of the most basic concepts of off-ball movement, pick and rolls. Like, it's just, all right, end the show. Like, I wasn't even that, like, I was mad about this loss, but I was feeling okay. I was like, oh, let's do a funny intro. You're like a Cyclone. And now I'm like sitting here like contemplating running headfirst into the wall. Like it's not like, and that's why
Arizona State basketball, that'll do it to you.
You know, dude, I love Bobby Hurley, and he's the best coach that we've probably ever had, and we might ever have.
Thank you.
But like, I'm just ready to see somebody who will coach an offensive identity, and if I have to watch worse players, then so be it. Right? I'm tired. I'm tired of this. It's a simple solution. I know that he knows how to do it. It's like, it'd be like watching a football coach and being like, why don't they run the ball?
Yeah.
Right? Or like freaking Cliff Kingsbury when he was with the Arizona Cardinals, where it was like, why is Kyler Murray in shotgun every single play? You never have him under center once. Like literally basic football. You don't run a lot of like actual play action. Right? Like these are basic things that you do in football to establish your game plan and your identity. And it's you watch an NBA game.
You just sacrifice.
You ever think you watch an NBA team or any team in the top 25, watch an entire game and go, why aren't they running more pick and roll? Why aren't they running more pick and pop? Why aren't guys running off of screens? And like, I can't just be on the players. Like,
no, but a big part of it is.
Okay, but Nan1 says if college players can't do the basics on their own, that's not coaching.
Yeah, he's on my team here.
No, but like, sure, yeah, the kids should do that on their own. But like, if you don't know where you're supposed to be.
But you just said it. It's the basics of basketball.
I agree.
They know where they're supposed to be. And the difference now between 5 years ago is you're paid to know now. You're absolutely paid to be able to go out there and run pick and rolls, run pick and pops, and play basketball. And you're not now, right? So the reason I agree with you partially, and yes, coaching does still play a role in it. But the reason that I'm flipped now versus where I would have been 5 years ago is, hey, y'all all got a ban, right? Or more than that. Y'all got a ton of money to come here.
It's obviously the players.
Do your part too. Right? It's the same thing that you would say in the NBA.
Dude, I cannot lose my voice. I cannot lose my voice.
Is it not the same thing you would say in the NBA? Right?
Sure.
Parts on the coaching, parts on the players.
Yeah, sure.
That's where we're at.
I think again, another Suns comparison before we hit a break here. Like Kevin Durant after the Cavs game was like, we don't have a zone package. Huh? Like, yeah, that's on the coaching staff primarily, but you've been in the NBA for 2 decades. Like, you should probably bring up the fact. Not that you need to do it, but you should bring up the fact that you should have one.
Yeah, that's valid.
Right.
For that kind of money, too. That's absolutely
listen,
unbelievable.
all I do in pickup is run around on off-ball movement, set screens for people, and rebound. So it's like, if my dumbass knows how to do it, like it shouldn't be that hard for anybody. Before Nigel comes back out.
Oh God.
Before Nigel the Neckavane comes back out, let's take our final break.
Look, guys, it is 2025. Maybe you're interested in trying to get a new home, whether you're selling, you're buying. We have got a new partner that is 100% going to make that job so much easier for you guys. We're talking about Carol Royce. The real estate team is family owned and locally operated with 3 generations. A family member serving the Valley of the Sun. 3 generations. Erik, are you kidding me? Look,
nope.
Call 480-776-5231 or visit the Carol Royce website. Her and her team are going to 100% take care of you with what you need. Look, they've done it a million times over, having sold over 12,000 homes across the Valley. Carol knows the Arizona real estate market better than anyone. If you're considering selling your home in 2025, the name to trust is Carol Royce. Your home sold guaranteed realty. Have questions? Call today or visit Carol online at carolroyceteam.com. That's carolroyceteam.com.
Huge shout out to Gila River Resorts and Casinos for so many reasons, but I want to let everybody know I've talked a lot about the Suns so far today. Yes, I have. And in case you didn't know, at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, Wild Horse Pass on the final day of the month, January 31st, 8 p.m., we are having a watch party over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. It's free. Sign up at gophnx.com/events. Come hang out with me, Steven, Espo, Gerald. Have a great time, chat it up, hang out with diehards and everybody alike. But also, you can get a chance to earn $5.9 million in this big game.
I would love that chance.
Yeah. for the big game, aka the Super Bowl. Score more than just touchdowns, giving you a chance to win $5.9 million with our free prop play at Gila River Resorts Casinos from January 27th to February 8th. Visit GilaPropPlay.com. Answer 26 questions about the big game for your shot at the grand prize. You do you. At Gila River Resorts and Casinos, visit playatgila.com for more details or check the link in the description below.
I want to know, if you won the $5.9 million, would you give me and Captain Redbeard any? Or
for sure, yeah.
How much we talking?
I'd have to see how much I get after taxes.
Let's say you get
5.9.
Let's say you get what, 3.7 back after taxes.
So I get 3.7 million. Okay,
that's like 1.33 for each of us. You know?
Yeah. Okay. I love you guys, buddy. All right. I'd give you all. Well, the thing is, I'd have to give it to you guys.
This is a serious number.
But here's the thing. If I'm going to give you guys money, I have to probably get everybody here money.
Whoa. I don't think you have to do that.
I mean, could you imagine?
Why would you?
Because I'm friends with everybody.
Yeah, but
here.
you're not. You don't share a studio with everybody.
I mean, that's fair. No, I do share a studio, but I have like 4 other people on Sun, so I'm at least dishing out 7 cuts of the pie.
I mean,
okay,
they wouldn't know.
Be a good baker then.
If I gave you guys $100K each, they wouldn't know. Yeah,
disappear.
I think $100K each does everybody here good.
Okay, but if I give $100K each to all the Suns and the ASU people, I'm going down to like $3 million. Right, so I think
cry me a river.
I think I'll do 80K.
80K for them, 100K for us.
All right, I need you to go on that.
What about you, Captain River? I need to know the split.
You got to give something to ASU basketball.
Yeah,
like come on.
To ASU basketball.
Yeah,
the
collective.
Yeah, to the NIL. Yeah, they meant like for us doing ASU like basketball games.
No.
Give us extra for watching.
Yeah, no.
I mean,
$500K, William, you're crazy.
I mean,
dude, 500, that's half of $1 million. If you're making listen, I could probably get $1 million and I would be, give me $10,000 right now. And I would be thrilled. I'd be over the dude. Walk up to me. Walk up to me and give me a $20 bill and you'll make my day. Right? So this is all subjective. But hypothetically, if I just got $3.7 million, I'm not going to give $500,000 to somebody. That's not my parents, right?
We're pretty much your parents.
I love you guys, but not happening. How much would you give us?
I would. That's tough, right? Because you did bring up the point there are other people.
No, but William says $4 million left over. No, after taxes, we're talking like $3.7 million.
I think this is a split. Okay. I'd give you each $100K.
Okay.
I'd give Damon $100K.
Oh, this is crazy. You're about to make a lot of people upset. You should not have gone down this road.
No. I'm trying to think who else I'd give a significant amount of money to.
Somebody's going to be upset. You know that, right?
I'd give some for Shane and Leah to split.
The split's crazy. The split is so disrespectful.
They're a couple. They're a couple.
So disrespectful. They're two individual people.
Everybody gets the same amount.
Those are two people that you have been working with from the beginning.
I'm not doing this anymore.
Idea
What do we got? What do we got for a super chat? That's actually not a terrible.
John, it's great. The $4.99 super chat says hockey tonight, 5:00. Watch on Fox 10 or Phil the Mullet. Absolutely, go support the hockey team. Ranked. Killing it, destroying it. Who said hockey doesn't belong in the desert? Whoever they are is stupid. 9-4 in conference, which, by the way, for the conference that they're in, 9-4 is in freaking incredible. Fox 10 extra, not just on Fox 10. We still have some more stuff. We got to give out bottle service and
we still got to do bottle service.
Aftertaste.
You want to just hop into bottle service right now?
Let's do bottle service.
Who do you think it's gonna be?
You.
It's me.
You.
You're right.
Yeah,
it's me.
Anthony Totri.
There we go. No, it's Adam Miller. Yeah, he 13 points and a
good effort on bottle service is crazy.
13 points. That's crazy. Good effort. What else did he have?
It's a harsh show.
Sorry. What else did he have? Let me see. I need for the entire game. Not only did he have good effort and 13 points, he had a steal. He had 0, everything else, 2 turnovers, and 3 personal fouls.
That's the good effort.
He literally had nothing else. Yeah, the good effort was, honestly, that was well done. That was pretty accurate.
I don't think we need to talk about bottle service anymore. I I think we're probably okay.
You think so?
I think so.
Who else had a moment? You want to talk about the freshman?
Jayden Quaintance had a great first half.
He had a great 17 minutes of ball tonight.
I mean, yeah, the fouls were tough. Some of those were on him. Whistle was also super tight tonight, which was tough, especially for a 17-year-old.
No Trevor Best tonight.
But yeah, 9 points. 9 points in the first half. 3 of 3 from the field. 1 of 1 from 3. 2 of 3 from the free throw line. Added 2 rebounds as well. Only 2 personal fouls in the first half, but of course that adds up. Defensively, no blocks for him, no steals for him, but he's still, especially at the beginning of the game, his defensive impact was shown when ASU kind of got Iowa State out of rhythm. And then Sanon, a good game back from Sanon, not a great game. I definitely think that he needs to do a little bit better about moving off the ball.
Yeah.
Only 8 points for him tonight. 3 of those, 13. 13. 8 points for him tonight. 2 of 3 from 3. But 5 personal fouls in 25 minutes is not acceptable.
And
I mean, Quaintance had 5 in 17 minutes.
He also had 3 boards too for Sanon.
Yeah, and that's first game back from injury against the number 3 team in the country. That's tough, but he needs to work a little bit harder to get himself some more easy shots, off-ball movement. Players lose you, but also Bobby needs to set it up so that the other players know that that's what they need to do.
Yeah, no, I think you're 100% right on that note. I do want to just hop into aftertaste really quick because I feel like this one has the potential to be really good for everybody's answers. Aftertaste, guys, you just tell me what this game tasted like. Could be food, could be drink, could be etc. at this point in the season. So, Rubus, I'm going to start with you. What was recycled into your food bucket today?
You see, I don't have a great one for this right now because I have I don't have a specific food, but I have like a specific like taste. Like, when or moment, like when you eat something and at first you're like, oh, this tastes good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I like this. Like, this is good. And then just the aftertaste of it just ruins it for you, and you don't want to go back to it. I know it's like aftertaste. Yeah. My aftertaste
is aftertaste. That's gross. That's for some reason that's particularly gross.
But you get it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I know
it
what you
makes
mean.
sense.
It's just blech.
What about you? What about you, Captain?
What was recycled into your food bucket?
So a piece of pizza.
Ooh, okay.
That you put it in your mouth and you don't really look at it, and then you get this leafy texture, and it's called spinach.
You got a bit this week, huh? the pizza across the PHNX universe this week is.
And then you throw up.
Yeah,
and then you throw up.
Captain Redbeard feels very strongly about his pizza.
I don't blame him.
And his coffee, which two great things that I feel like you can have a strong opinion about.
Yeah.
What did this taste like for me? This is tough. For me, this kind of just tasted like a glass of milk. Just
interesting.
Mid all around for me, honestly. Like I wasn't.
Were you ever a big milk guy?
There was a point. Yeah, where it was like, yeah, it's supposed to make you taller, and you drink it, and then it's like,
and you're like,
doesn't really do that.
I've been drinking this for like 12 years now.
You all lied. I'm not taller, and this hurts my stomach, so I'm gonna stop doing it. So yeah, that's what it tasted like.
And
to
this
me.
hurts my stomach. Totri's like, man, I'm wildly lactose intolerant, but I really want to grow.
Really need to grow. Not happening.
And this is him like 2-3 years ago. We're talking
2-3 years ago. We're talking about last week. I bought 2%. What are we talking about here? Yeah, it tasted like milk all around. Look, we said going into this game that it was going to be an important game for Arizona State to try and get that marquee win.
Yeah,
a win that we can look at that says, hey, that's the reason that you're heading to the tournament. We can look back to this game alongside a resume of other things and be like, okay, that's it. You lost that opportunity against Iowa State today. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Bobby board and see what Arizona State can still do. Obviously, one win in the Devils' last, 7 games? At that point, 6-7 games?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Do the quick counting on that.
Since Big 12, I mean, they're 2-6 in Big 12.
Yeah, 2-6.
So 2 wins in their last 8 games.
And now you got Colorado.
That you have to. This is stamp it as absolutely unequivocally the most must-win game of the season. You can't, if you lose to Colorado, you're not making the tournament.
Yeah.
It's over.
It's Jover.
If they lose to Colorado, yeah.
Then you got Arizona, and you got Kansas State and Oklahoma State. I feel like there's a big opportunity here, again, to pick up some wins that you should get. Yeah. Right? Arizona State, I would say, plays up and down to their competition really well. I think you can beat Colorado. You could beat Kansas State. Mm-hmm. You could beat Oklahoma State. And I said earlier that I feel strongly that this team can punch Arizona in the mouth based off the way that I've seen both of them play throughout the course of the season. You have an opportunity here to really, really build a resume that you haven't been able to do in conference play yet. You have to capitalize on that.
You're going to need to play like a completely different team for the end of the season.
No, you just need to play like the first half of this game all the way through.
And playing like a consistent team is being a completely different team. That's it. Like, you know what works. You know what you need to fix. Do I think they're going to fix it? I don't. I would like them to.
That'd be nice.
I think it's possible, but not great. Not great at all.
Not great, Jim. Not great. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts.
We do have some videos.
We do have some fun videos.
Why don't we show the video of, big guys on campus?
Big guys on campus.
Jordan Tyson.
Offensive lineman. Oh.
Well, no, Jordan Tyson. Sam Levitt taking pictures with ASU fans during the game. Take a look at this crowd. Like, that's a lot of people.
Shout out the Deli Man for getting these over at DFA. Yeah. I mean,
Deli Man drove over at
halftime. Men of the people.
Yes.
Jordan Tyson and Sam Levitt. I mean, who else would you rather have as a quarterback and wide receiver duo?
Nobody.
Literally nobody.
Are they number one in the country?
Ooh.
There's a conversation.
I think that's a conversation for another show.
A 1 p.m. show?
Another show.
Are Sam Levitt and Jordan Tyson
the number one? They might
quarterback
be.
wide receiver duo.
They might be.
Because you'd have to have another quarterback wide receiver duo that's the best.
I don't know. The dude.
Well, who's
South Carolina's
Ryan
got
Williams?
a dog. South Carolina's got a dog.
Ryan
I'm not
Williams
worried about
and
Alabama.
Who's Alabama's quarterback next year? Not Sam Levitt.
No, it's not Sam Levitt. Man, but he feels like he could be an Alabama quarterback.
Yeah. Moana Kangaika getting lit in the curtain. Yeah, Jacob Kangaika in the curtain. That was really funny. Sharon roasting Tony in the chat.
Tony's here. This is rare occurrence these days we get football.
So Tony is a notorious U of A fan. Just jumps in here, goes ha ha ha, and Sharon goes, "Tony's here." That's a rare occurrence these days with U of A football in shambles. Boom.
Yeah. John in the chat saying aftertaste is lukewarm coffee. Captain Redbeard, how do you feel about that?
I mean, I like all forms of coffee, so
all forms.
it wasn't that bad.
Cold, hot.
Yeah,
lukewarm.
What about like 18-day-old coffee?
It probably still has some kick to it.
Yeah, you got to be careful drinking really old coffee because I did that once and ooh.
What happened?
It's like
I went to the bath. I probably set a record for how many times I went to the bathroom that day.
Really?
Is that recently?
No, it was like 2 years ago.
Okay.
How old was the coffee?
I didn't look, but I know it was like a few months, maybe a year old.
Already
could have been in there forever, actually.
Already made?
Or it was just in a bag, and then I just like made it, and it was not good.
That sounds pretty vile.
Could you tell by like the taste, or like did it taste fine and it just killed you?
Yeah, you could kind of tell by the taste. This is in my mining time, so we were kind of desperate.
the mining years.
Like, could you
the
imagine
mining years of Captain Redbeard.
Yeah, this was back when I worked in the mine.
The Chronicles of Redbeard are. It's got to be something that comes to fruition.
Redbeard, you need to join us. What are you doing next Thursday night, Captain?
I'm on PHNX Puffs.
Let's freaking go. Let's go. Commitment live.
I love it.
The Chronicles of Redbeard. I think we're just going to like literally go through Kyle's life. Like, it's so crazy.
That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. Look, it has been a glorious show. I feel like we've had a great group therapy session.
Yeah, I feel better. I screamed a lot.
You did scream a lot, and that's totally okay. I also want to let everybody know that's watching on TV, the party always continues at gophnx.com. It wouldn't be a complete show without closing time, presented by the Carol Royce team, your home sold guaranteed realty, where Carol is going to guarantee to sell your home for 100% of market value, or she's going to pay you the difference. Learn more at carolroyceteam.com. We have got some takeaways from this one, and in all honesty, there's only one thing that we can truly say as people that do an Arizona State podcast all the time. Where's your trophy? Iowa State, they beat us in basketball. Last I checked, we still have a Big 12 championship trophy. That was won in Dallas, all thanks to a beating of the Cyclones, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think you remember correctly.
Beautiful stuff. Guys, that's going to do it for today's show. If you enjoyed the content, Give us a follow at PHNX Sun Devils. You can follow me at Anthony Totri. You can follow this guy at Erik Ruby. That's Erik with a K. You can follow the captain of this ship, Captain Redbeard, at K Coop Sports. And we will see you guys on Monday. But in the meantime, go Devils. And peace.
We all silly like the mayor.